it just like automatically took something when you were moving it around.
Oh, that's fun. Okay.
Your life.
Okay. I'm not here. Good morning, everybody. Melissa Nielsen of Waldorf Essentials. And I have somebody special join me today. Here he's coming. There he is.
Hello.
Okay, so we wanted to talk to you about a few different things this morning. We have some announcements. We've been making announcements a lot lately. We have a lot of exciting things going on. So we've got a couple announcements this morning, and we are in two places again, and hoping as things pick up speed with us being live on YouTube as well, that it'll be a good thing.
Checking over there to make sure that's what it says.
I'm looking that way. There we go.
Perfect.
So we are we're going to talk about two things first. We're going to talk about our announcement. So we have something very cool that we are working on. Well, that we finished. We're launching today. I finished it last night in the wee hours of the morning. As you can tell by the bags under my eyes, I need to get more sleep this week. We had birthdays and then, yeah. Anyways, so we decided that we were going to really work with, because we've been working with homeschooling families for more than 10 years, and we are really in the place of we are expanding and working with lots of other people. And we've heard, we have a lot of clients and customers have been like, I really want to hand this to my friend Jenny over here, but Jenny doesn't homeschool, and she really could utilize like the stuff that you guys teach in Thinking, Feeling, Willing. And so when are you gonna make a program for my friend over here? Or when are you gonna? So we have done that. We have two programs that we're launching this week and a webinar that we're launching this week. So what should we talk about first? Programs or webinar?
Let's talk about the programs.
Okay, so the first program is called Rhythm Reboot. And actually, you can join this program even if you are, even if you're homeschooling, because obviously, and both of them actually are, we just wanted to also make sure that everybody understood that it was not just for homeschooling families. So the Rhythm Reboot is for anybody whose rhythm is just a complete mess. And it is 1 month of one-on-one coaching with me, and we get your rhythm like fixed and going. And so the website for that, you all right? The website for that is, and Kelly's going to drop it in the comments here on Facebook Live, and we'll make sure it's in the comments on YouTube as well. The program is really cool because it will be, like I said, one month of one-on-one with me, and we'll go through 4 weeks of you really pushing and getting. So you only join if you're like ready to do it. So it's one-on-one. It's really intensive, and if you're ready for me to kick your bum, then by all means, I think it's great. I think you'll have a lot of fun. I think you'll also learn a lot about yourself. It is a very limited program. So each one of the programs that we're going to talk about, we are only taking a few people a month because we don't want to be overrun and because we want to make sure we can give you the service that you need by doing one-on-one. So we cannot take 100 people. We can really only take like 10 people a month. And so if it's a program that you want to be, really looking into, I would take care of that in the next day or so because it's going to fill up very quickly for our first like maiden voyage month. And so the program includes, like I said, one-on-one with me, includes a workbook for you to go through that's got some graphics in it and got some helps in it. And so it'll include, he's running away. It will include some phone calls with me, and we'll be doing a lot of like intensive work together. So if that's something that you're interested in, please, by all means, check out melissanielsen.com/reboot. And that's like a me and another mom situation, the two of us working together. The next thing we're going to talk about is a program called Families in Sync. And I'm really excited about Families in Sync. Eric actually came up with the name for it.
He came up with the name,
and it just made the most sense.
Yes.
And so Families in Sync is a mom and dad, and it's a whole family program. It's different from our Thrive program in that it's not focusing so much on your marriage, it's focusing on your home. And so the Families in Sync program is about a 2-month program. It's 4 weeks of intense, because we're intense. 4 weeks of intense discussions with us, like one-on-one with families.
Examining what's going right
Yes,
and wrong, and
exactly.
getting a baseline, and then making a plan to fix things.
Right.
Giving people the tools to make those things better.
Exactly. We're going to give you the same tools that we work with every day. And we really want it to be extremely tangible things that you can do right away. And so again, it'll be this 4 weeks where we're going to work really intensively together, and then we're going to give you a month to work on it on your own, and then come back and report. And we're going to have, we're going to talk about, like, okay, we've worked for 4 weeks really close together. Like, and then now you've had a month to sort of do it on your own. What things went well? What things do we still need to work on? And because we really want to, like, help you guys have peace in your lives. There's so much struggle, and there should not be struggle in your home. And Eric and I kind of have some unique talents that we can lend to this. We know blended families. We understand special needs. We understand those things that are going on. We have 5 children.
And we're a blended family also.
Yes.
So.
And so we know what it's like to be in the weeds, and we know what it's like to get out of it and to really feel good about your family and the way that the direction that you're going in. So again, that one is melissanielsen.com/sync. So Kelly's put the 2 links in the comments here. Now let's talk about our webinar. And so we're going to talk about both of these programs really fold into this webinar that we're doing this week. But there's going to be people that are already part of our other programs that are going to want to come to this webinar this week, I think. So the webinar is called Straight Talk on Bad Behavior. And Straight Talk on Bad Behavior is just what it sounds like. It is going to be an hour of Eric and I, like, just talking about, like, why your kids are misbehaving. So come if you're ready to hear it. You might not be ready to hear it.
Everybody has to deal with that. We deal with that too.
We totally deal with it. And we're going to talk about some of our own mess ups. We're going to talk about, how we recovered things. And we're going to give you some tangible things right away. So if you're interested, we're going to do 2 live sessions this week. And one will be on Wednesday night at 5 p.m. Pacific time, and one will be on Saturday morning at 10 a.m. Pacific time. And so they'll both be different. They're the same topic, but they'll be different because they're going to be live. And what we'll be doing is just going through, we're going to be taking questions. It's going to be in a Zoom format. It's not going to be here on Facebook. And the space for that is very limited. So you want to go to melissanielsen.com/straight, and you want to sign up today because it is going to fill up fast. Mm-hmm. Very limited space. And then you're going to want to be there on time. And if, for some reason you can't, you sign up and you can't catch the live, you really should try to catch live, just because if you've got questions and you really want to work through some of your struggles, then we'll be able to work through them with you live. But there will definitely be a replay, and but you have to sign up. I will not be sending the replay out for people that don't sign up. So you absolutely have to sign up, and you have to go through the confirmation process, because the confirmation process, I've had some really frustrated messages from people, and I just have to tell you, it's not our fault. Their world is changing, and the world is making it so that there's new laws they're going into effect in the next month or so. And so the companies are really starting to, email marketing companies are really starting to crack down now. We have to have double opt-in on everything. That means you sign up, and then you have to confirm your email. And if you don't confirm your email, then you won't get the things from us. And so we really need people to really just trying to train people. You got to be super diligent about it, because it's what's coming. And it's coming because we have had, not strong enough spam laws, and now they're spam laws. So they really want to make sure that you really want that stuff in your inbox. Yeah. So Julie asks, is this separate from Thinking Feeling Willing? Our Thinking Feeling Willing members already have access to the workbooks they're in the curriculum and more section of Thinking Feeling Willing. Those will be work on your own. If you and so that part is included in the program. If you want the one-on-one coaching with us for the month, then it is because it's not a Waldorf Essentials product. It's a melissanielsen.com product. And so you will have to, if you want the one-on-one coaching, then you will definitely have to go through it that way. But you have access to all of the materials. And really and truly, our Thinking, Feeling, Willing members should not need Families in Sync or the Rhythm Reboot, because you have all of the tools at your fingertips. All of the tools are within the program. So if you work the program, you really wouldn't need these. These are really for families that aren't working the program, that aren't part of it. So, that's really what I have to say about that. I think that we have such a great product in Thinking, Feeling, Willing. If you work it, it will work for you. But if you need that extra hump and you need that one-on-one hand holding, you are absolutely welcome to join one of these programs. But yes, you will have to pay for that separately, because if we're going to be working really tight one-on-one together for a month, that it just is not included in the program. So I think that's all with regards to the announcements that we had.
Realizing that I wouldn't be able to manage the chat on the YouTube unless I go over there.
Oh, go check the questions too. So now we're going to talk about menu stacking.
Yeah, so I should probably go over and manage that. I just realized.
So we need to clone ourselves.
We do.
We need Kelly to be right here every morning.
So I'm here.
That's not happening.
I'm here, but I'm over there.
Okay. He's going to step aside. So menu stacking. Menu stacking is something that I started doing, probably about 2 years ago. So what is menu stacking? Menu stacking is this ability to make your menu really work for you. And it really, I want to say, after my stroke, before my stroke, I didn't mind being in the kitchen. After my stroke, seriously, the kitchen is just something that came with my house. I really don't want to be there. But I am, I love homemaking in that respect. And it's not that I hate cooking. It's just that the choleric in my head goes, oh, I have to make more meals. Really, I just want to play. And especially since my stroke. And so I came up with some ways to make it easier for me, because it is my kryptonite. It is definitely my, oh man, do I have to cook again? And I know a lot of you struggle with that. So when I came up with menu stacking, it was really and truly from a lazy place, a place of me man, I don't want to cook another meal. So menu stacking is this concept where you start with a meal that then takes you all week long. And it can be a couple of different bases. And I'm going to say I don't have vegetarian options that are in my menu right away. But I have to tell you, if you are, I can't imagine that would be really hard. You would change what you're cooking. So for instance, our menu usually consists of, on Sunday or Monday, I'll make a whole chicken. And we have an Instant Pot. And I have to tell you, I'm waiting for the dang people at Amazon to approve my affiliate, because I know I could sell some dang Instant Pots for them. I talk about Instant Pot all the time. My children are sick of me talking about the Instant Pot. Eleanor, are you sick of me talking about the Instant Pot?
I'm sick of the Instant Pot.
She's sick of the Instant Pot. My kids, Harry likes the Instant Pot. If you're following Harry on YouTube, then you see Harry's, or on Facebook, you see Harry's videos on what he's doing with his Instant Pot. So I bought the Instant Pot a couple of years ago, and I bought it. The reason why I was sold on it was because at the time we lived in a place that had a bigger kitchen, but I knew we were downsizing as we were moving closer to the beach. So I needed something that replaced the rice cooker and the crock pot so I was on the lookout for something that was going to replace a lot of those things. And the Instant Pot does that. So the Instant Pot is a rice cooker. It is, it is a crock pot. It is a pressure cooker. You can make soups in it. It's basically a pressure cooker, and then it's also like a hot plate. So, I could see somebody that lived in a camper. Like when I first started with the Instant Pot, there were people that I followed that were they were on the road truckers. It was a couple, and so she was doing all these videos in the back cab of their truck, and she had the smaller. She had the 6 quart. I had the 8 quart because children leave home and they don't really leave. They just keep coming back, and that's great. I love them, but I'm constantly making a lot of food. And so I had the bigger one, and now they have a baby one that's like a 4 quart, which I need to acquire because it would be perfect size for rice. But when I first acquired it, it was really because I wanted to be able to get rid of all those other appliances. I didn't know what size kitchen I was coming to, and I really wanted to change the footprint of what we had, storing and what we were bringing with us. So I bought it with that intent in mind. And oh man, I had no idea what I was walking into, because I use it all the time, like almost every single day, to the point where I have a second insert because, I'm constantly cooking something in it. So again, on Mondays, like if you're going to stack your menu, I just wanted to give you a little Instant Pot background. On Mondays, if you're going to stack your menu, you want to come up with a meal that you can utilize in different ways all week long. So the two that come to mind the most for me are a pot roast and a whole chicken. So you've got your whole chicken. One of the reasons why I love the whole chicken is because we're going to be, making bone broth from it. So we use that broth then all week long. So we start with a whole chicken on Monday. And on Monday, we make the whole chicken, and usually I'll make a rice or pasta side dish or vegetables or whatever it is. And we are gluten-free, so I use a lot of Barilla gluten-free pasta. That's our pasta mainstay, and that's actually like the best one that I've ever found. So it's a little bit more expensive sometimes, but really like to use that one. Adding the vegetables in and everything. So we've got this chicken, and then our sides. That's Monday. We buy a bigger chicken. We have, like I said, we have the 8-quart Instant Pot. So I buy a bigger chicken. And usually the chicken, I can find a good organic or at least a hormone-free chicken, for like less than $12, $13. And so that's like feeds us the whole week. So I get the chicken on Monday. We cook it Monday. Eric debones it on Monday. And usually there is way more than what we're going to eat in that meal. So he debones it, and then I take that carcass and it goes back in the Instant Pot with about 4 to 5 cups of filtered water and some seasonings. And then it goes in the Instant Pot. I put it on about 180 minutes, and I make bone broth. And I put a little apple cider vinegar in there. It helps sort of leach more out of the bones. And it goes, and it's making my bone broth. And so that bone broth then is going to be used in another meal. We'll take the chicken, we're going to eat it on Monday night, and then there's going to be leftovers from it. There's generally enough leftovers because we buy the bigger birds. There's generally enough leftovers then to have tacos or fajitas or some other chicken dish on another night during the week. So when I'm making my menu, I'm keeping this stacking idea in mind. I'm keeping in mind that we are going to be using it the rest of the week. So again, Monday, we may have the whole chicken and some pasta. Tuesday, we might have fajitas from that. And I really like La Frontera. Is that the brand? La Frontera fajita mix. Because
yes, it is.
They tend to be, better sourced, and you can get them at the natural food store. But if you have your own way to make fajitas, then great, then you do that. And if you do, will you share a recipe with me? Because I cannot find one that I really like. So I will make that. I will take that chicken that's left over after that meal, and if it's only enough for fajitas, I will actually put it in a container with the mix and stick it back in the fridge. And it's got even more time, because once meat is cooked, it doesn't marinate as well, obviously, because it's already been cooked. But if you let it sit in there overnight, it does get a lot, it sort of soaks in. So then we will have that in there. And Lennon asked a question here. She said, I'd love to hear from any viewers that are doing vegetarians. The one thing that came to mind, Lennon, for me was if you had a vegetable stock and you were making beans maybe, and then having that stretch all week long, or because we do a lot of vegetarian things with our Instant Pot. I just was really thinking about how we do, because we do a lot of paleo stuff too, as far as like meats. And that's really what got me going on it, was how we were going to be able to bring enough protein to our family in that way. So I would love to hear if you send me some of your favorite menu ideas that you're already working on. I will help you stack them, because I think that stacking is so, so, so helpful. So again, chicken on Monday. Tuesday, maybe we're having fajitas or something else that we're doing with that chicken. It's usually fajitas, just easy and fast. And then on Wednesday, I'm either making tomato soup from the chicken stock or a chicken noodle soup, or I might make some black beans and use that soup base. So I'm using that again on a third night. If I'm making tomato soup or chicken noodle soup, I generally make enough so that then we can eat it for at least one more dinner and generally one more lunch. So by Friday, that chicken that we started with on Monday has fed us almost every day that week. And we did it even when when we had Harry here and he was eating a whole lot more. It was we just bought bigger birds. You can also do it with I was thinking about this the other day. You could do it with some bone-in beef that you then use. And I was thinking about it with a pot roast. You could use it as a pot roast, and then you could take the leftover pot roast and shred it and do shredded beef. The other things that we've done in our Instant Pot, and this isn't stacking so much as it is just cooking big, that lasts all week long, especially if you're in the mode of like figuring out how you can do lunches for the whole week. I love to make barbecue chicken in the Instant Pot. So for that, I don't use the whole chicken. I just use thighs, and you can usually find organic thighs at Costco for about $24 for the package of three. There's like three in that package, right? Like
Yes,
three. And I for this I usually use about I usually use at least two of those packages for this. But you could use all three if you've got a bigger family and you want it to make it go longer. So I will cook them in the Instant Pot with some really good barbecue sauce that's no corn syrup, gluten-free barbecue sauce, or make your own. Cook them. You just want to make sure that there's at least 1 cup of liquid, so that your Instant Pot doesn't blow up. It needs to have enough liquid in it to create the steam. So I'll make that on one day, and it will usually last us the whole week. So, but we've eaten that on several different things. I have kids that eat that on rice. We've eaten that with the Hawaiian king rolls are like really the best, but they're not gluten-free. So while the gentlemen in our house can enjoy those these days, Soraya and I can't. So, finding some good gluten-free breads or some other ways to enjoy those things is really like the topic of what we're doing a lot of now that we're doing more gluten-free stuff. So I don't have any questions. I know I have a lot of viewers. Does anybody want to share what their favorite meal stacking is? If you're already stacking your menus like this already, or questions about meal stacking, I'm all ears. I'm happy to help you troubleshoot some things. I have to say that we have, we've sort of perfected this over at least the last year or two. And it really, really reduces my time in the kitchen. It reduces my meal making time, not just because the Instant Pot is an amazing piece of equipment, but just because we do the stacking piece that generally tends to really pull us out of the kitchen. And we can make things like when we make fajitas, we can make that last a lot longer. Like definitely it's usually a meal and then a lunch. Especially if I turn around and I make rice in the Instant Pot and I make some Spanish rice, then that can go with it as well. And so it makes it stretch a lot farther. And because I'm just all about not wanting to be in the kitchen right now. Yeah, I saw this towel there's a little shop down here that is like a little touristy shop. It's something like my kitchen is just a room that came with my house, and that's kind of how I feel right now. Yeah. Anyways, Angie says, I follow paleo as well. Great video. I just think, thank you. I think that any way that we can, especially because paleo ends up being so like meat intensive, and it can get to be overwhelming for you as far as like making and coming up with meals, and then for your budget it can be overwhelming to source good meats that and poultry that is not that's not GMO, that's not full of stuff that we don't want, is hard. And so I really looked for ways to make it like go farther. Brianna says, Lennon, we often do giant pots of chickpeas and do chickpea gyros. Ooh, that sounds good. Then the next day do hummus. That's right up my alley. I love hummus. Or pasta con Cece with chickpeas. Another week. I'm going to go back. Another week. We'll use a different bean, kidney beans to do chili. I think, see that's a great way. That's a great way to do stacking for vegetarians. That I didn't even think about chili because we would make that too, and that's a great way. Let's see. Nadia says, is stacking still doable without the Instant Pot? It is. I just think you have to work farther or work a little bit harder. And the Instant Pot isn't available where you live. Dang it. I'm sorry. But I totally would buy one if they were. I think this is an amazing machine. So yes, it would be definitely doable. The way you would do it, you would have to use a crock pot or a slow cooker. And even though you don't have the Instant Pot, if you had, Nadia, I don't know if you have access to any kind of electric, my brain just totally, pressure cooker. That was the word I was looking for. Any kind of electric pressure cooker, I think would do. But no, I think that you could definitely do the same things with, say, a crock pot. It would just take longer. So you would want to start it. You would want to get up Monday morning with dinner in mind, obviously. So if you're going to do a whole chicken in the crock pot, you would want to start it Monday morning, and then you would still have the benefit of, having it ready for Monday evening, and then, breaking down the carcass. And then you would want to, in order to make bone broth from that, it takes longer in the crock pot. So you would want to leave it in the crock pot, until the next day. I've done that before. I did that before we had the Instant Pot with regards to like making bone broth. So, definitely you would want to work on it from, it's just going to take a little bit longer, but it's definitely doable. Menu stacking, I think, is just this idea of really working at what we can do to lengthen those meals and lengthen those, the pieces that we have, like all of those working parts, and working on a menu can be super overwhelming. And it's something that I talk about on a regular basis, as far as like, it needs to be part of your rhythm. And especially if your rhythm is a mess, go back and look at your menu, because not having a menu in place, unless you're planning on eating out every night, even if you are, you still got to plan it. And so like really having that menu piece in place is super helpful. So when you are when you're coming up with trying to get your rhythm sorted and in a good place, I always tell families, you need to have 2 to 3 weeks of menus done, written and in the can, so it's easy for you to pull. And then you have to be ahead of the shopping for that. So if you have those menus already done, you can pull it and you can, get the shopping done, and you've got it. And then you don't have to worry about what you're making for dinner. You don't have to worry about what people are eating for lunch, because you've got it all planned out already. So menu stacking totally helps with the lunch situation too, because you're always sort of ahead a little bit, because you have some food from the night before. And yes, you might be using it this night, but you can portion out what you need. Usually when we do it with a big chicken, it feeds us for 2 or 3 meals after the initial meal, if you can get a big enough bird. And like I said, that's one of the reasons why I like the 8-quart. We fit a whole dang turkey. Was it at Christmas? Was it Christmas or Thanksgiving? We put a whole turkey. It's like somebody gave us this whole turkey. And I was like, what in the heck? I've never cooked a turkey. I'm 45 years old, never cooked a turkey before, because somebody always cooked it for me. And I thought, how in the heck am I cooking this thing? And we had to cut off one of the breasts because it was a really big turkey. But we cut off one of the breasts and I threw that in the freezer. And then we cooked the rest of the turkey. I mean, it was a big bird in the Instant Pot, and it was perfect. It was absolutely perfect, because it gave us the same menu stacking, only we had bird for a long time. Like a week or more. That was a lot of turkey. You can do the same thing. You make turkey broth. You can, make turkey soup then from that. You utilize the turkey breast for lunch meat. You can do all of those same things, and it just goes farther. So really, menu stacking is just this idea of really looking to make your menu go farther, and it helps you out so much in the kitchen, especially if you've got allergies, especially if you are looking at a special diet like paleo or anything like that. So you want to really plan that out and have it together. Angie says we do a lot of boiled eggs, fruits and vegetables for lunch. Yep. I think it's great and easy and fast. And It's super helpful. Let's see. And you can serve it with rice too for heartier appetites. Yes, rice can go a long way. And I have to tell you, the thing about rice in the Instant Pot is it's done in like 4 minutes. I mean, it has to come to pressure, but still it's done in like 4 minutes. And so I love the Instant Pot for that. So I really want the little 4-quart one because then I can just have one for that. Brianna says, my husband hates the idea of boring repeated menus. I'm reinstituting them, and I've assured him he'll have more sex if dinner is faster. That's really good. That's good, Brianna. It is. If dinner is faster, yes. I think that's great. And I think that you don't, like when we menu stack, I don't ever think about it being boring because one week I'll make, sorry, I'm still laughing. One week I will make chicken noodle soup or chicken and rice soup, or, and the next week I will make tomato soup. And tomato soup is goes so far, and we make tomato and rice one week, and I'll make tomato and pasta one week. I make a German noodle that I can't make right now because of the gluten issue, but we make tomato soup and spätzle on a regular basis too. Let's see, what else does she say? Tess says 2 to 3 weeks. So do you prep for that? Sometimes I'm basing my meat purchases off of sales. My mind can barely wrap around a week at a time. We sort of do stacking currently too. I didn't realize that's what I was doing. Yes. Isn't it great when you find out that you're doing something you didn't realize? So yes, 2 to 3 weeks, especially if your rhythm is in the toilet. You want to have 2 to 3 weeks. And the way I recommend you do that is I would do 12, make a list of 12 meals, 12 dinners that are really easy for you to do that your family likes. And then go through those 12 dinners and what can you stack? I mean, for us, it would be like chicken fajitas, pot roast. The one thing we really like is ribs, and that's not stackable. But, I would go through and make a list of 12 to 15 meals that you all like. And then I would do 5 to 10 lunches and 5 breakfasts. That's your base. Just make your lists and then pull 2 to 3 weeks of menus and keep them together. That really, if you have the same menu, have 2 to 3 weeks of menus and you can rotate it, then it's not going to get boring and you can change it up a little bit. I used to have we used to have a soup night and an ethnic night, like Mexican or Italian, but I'm Italian, so it's kind of weird because I make Italian all the time. So we kind of walked away from that when we started doing meal stacking more, just because it was easier to do it this way. But yes, as far as having the prep, I would have the prep a week in advance. So when you're watching those sales, and it really doesn't take a lot, you would have at least your meat prep, you would have extra in the freezer. If you want to get your vegetables fresh that week, definitely, then you want to stop by the store and grab those, or, make a list for dad to grab on his way home from work or whatever. I think that part should be fresh, obviously, because it doesn't keep as long. But if you can stay ahead of the meat, then that really helps. And definitely, it's just about, if you could get 1 week ahead, then you can stay 1 week ahead. And so, setting aside a little extra budget so that you can get 1 week ahead, I think is golden for you. Go ahead. Yes.
Here, a Prairie Pioneer Schoolhouse is the name. It says, I'm in the meal planning part of the Planning for Peace journal, and I feel your pain, Brianna.
Oh, Brianna. That's really funny. I just think it's hilarious because I think that meal planning, it takes so much. So usually what happens here, this is just evening rhythm. What happens here is one of us will cook and then we'll eat. And then the other one of us will head kids to bed shortly after. I mean, when moms tell me that their kids need a snack before dinner or before bed, I'm like, what the heck time are y'all eating? Because we eat between 5 and 6 usually. And they're in bed, we're heading to bed at 7. There's no time for a snack in there. There's just not. If you were eating at 4 and you weren't going to bed till 8, then I could see. But, really working on having that bedtime stacked early. And this is so Sam's about to be 12. He's also getting ready for bed at that time because he found that he really likes to sit in bed and read. And so our whole house is shut down by 8. To bed and usually to sleep by then. I mean, there are definitely exceptions, but generally, yeah. So we're eating, and then I'm pushing them to bed, and we're working on that, and I'm reading to them, and Eric is then cleaning up the kitchen, so that when we're both done with those chores, we're off duty and we're done for the night. So yeah, definitely think about that if that's not what's working for you. Becca says, I stack my menus a bit differently. We use a lot of meat because my husband is a caveman in a polo shirt and he craves meat. One chicken wouldn't be enough for more than one meal plus lunches. Goodness, good comments today. I'm just trying to get to this, see more. Plus lunches the next day. I wonder how big your chicken is, Brianna. Or not Brianna, but Becca. I would get bigger chicken and a bigger Instant Pot. I plan menus a month in advance according to the season. Good. We usually do that too. Then I repeat a seasonal menu for 3 months in a row. Each meal is only eaten a few times a quarter and we don't get bored. That's a great idea. Sometimes we go longer than 3 months if we've had a crazy change in seasons like we did this year when winter was just dragging on and on. That's a great tip. I really like seasonal menus too. We tend to do a lot based on the farmers market, and in California we get things before everybody else. We've got strawberries here, like right in the last month we've had strawberries, like a lot of strawberries. Strawberries and Brussels sprouts the last few weeks, and so I'm loving it when I can get things really fresh. Jennifer says, Tess, you could have a week plan each type of meat you typically get. That's a good idea. That's a really good idea, so that if you see that pot roasts are on sale, then you have a week's plan that you're stacking with just the pot roast, or a week's plan that you're stacking with the whole chickens. I tend to, I was thinking about Costco and the chicken thing. I was buying whole chickens at Costco, and I think that's an okay thing to do, like the whole organic ones. I'm finding that often Ralph's, which is a Kroger brand, so Ralph's, Fred Meyer, Smith's, I think there's other Kroger brands, but they tend to be cheaper on a whole chicken basis, and you get a bigger whole chicken sometimes than you do at Costco. I need to do earlier bedtimes. Yes, ma'am, you do. Set you free. Brianna says, yes. She's thanking Becca. This is brilliant. Okay, I'm so glad. Does anybody else have anything else they want to share? I think it's a really good topic. And I really think we could do a workshop on just menus. But, I have to tell you, that is really what helps the rhythm. When you know what you're eating, it takes so much of a load off for breakfast, for lunch, for dinner. And then if you know what snacks you're having, and snacks don't have to be like snacks here. I'm like, oh, go cut yourself a dang apple. It doesn't have to be this big deal. We just really have to think about it. And then there's the next level. The next level, of course, would be an incredibly conscious menu of you're taking it from, and most of us are pretty conscious, but you're taking it from here's the menu idea to then making sure that it fits all of your desires with regards to health and nutrition. And so that really is it's just the next step. And so making it like really fit for your family. Julie says, I've had success with stacking as long as I plan out hitting the grocery store twice a week so the veggies make it to the end of the plan. For sure. Like I tend to, because our farmers market is on Wednesdays, I tend to like plan the menu out and save the things that I know I'm going to need those fresh veggies for at the end of the week. And that's super helpful here. Jennifer says, I chop my veggies. You guys are great. All these comments this morning. I chop my veggies for the week, the ones that I will keep in advance, and it saves a lot of time for cooking. It does. Excuse me. The pre-prep really helps a lot. Eric likes to make homemade pizza, and we do a lot of pre-prep when it comes to that, because otherwise he'd be in the kitchen for 3 hours. And Becca says, yes, a workshop on menus would be awesome. I hate meal planning and grocery shopping and need fresh motivation. I will keep that in mind. I hadn't thought about that until this morning. I think that that meals and menus is something that you go, like I have to do this. It's something you have to do. Yes. You might as well enjoy it, right? Might as well enjoy it a little bit. Angie says, so with the bone broth, I freeze in ice cube trays. That's a great idea. Then often for lunch or breakfast, I cut in or zoodle fresh vegetables and kind of make instant ramen. That's a great idea. I use the bone broth a lot, a lot. We use it for just about everything. If I'm going to make any kind of ramen-ish dish, even if I'm going to use the ramen noodles, I'm going to use my own bone broth. I don't use the stuff that's in the packet. I mean, it's nasty for one, but even if you have a good one, it's still better to cook in the bone broth. So I use the bone broth for rice, and I use the bone broth for all kinds of bases for other foods as well. So it goes a long way. But my favorite is I make a homemade tomato soup with the bone broth from the week, from that week. And I use about 4 to 6 cans of organic tomato sauce, and just make it all from scratch. And it is an amazing soup. Some butter, a little bit of spices. Nina says, I like to use frozen vegetables. Yes, that's another great way when you need to, for sure, that I am cooking and buy lots of fresh greens. However, I plan on growing my baby greens because I don't like them going to the store either. Yeah, good point. There's another one. Grocery shopping is a big deal for us. Once a week, the kids and I go all together and have lots of fun, but I end up buying so many snack foods. I don't shop with my kids. I just don't. She said she ends up buying a lot of snack foods, and I'm starting to suspect my son has a gluten allergy. And I have to tell you the reason, we've always been low gluten, but the reason why Soraya and I are doing the gluten-free thing right now is because she's got this lovely rash right here, and I think that's where it came from. We go to Disneyland a lot, and so we end up taking sandwiches that we can eat in line over there. And I generally don't, because we've been doing sourdough for years. Sourdough doesn't seem to bother her or myself, and we were already gluten-free on the pasta end. But for Disneyland, I'm like, well, candy bread, which is really not horrible bread. I tend to still buy better candy bread, but it was full wheat. It was not sourdough broken down. And after 2 times of going and having extra candy bread laying around that then everybody wants to eat, yeah, now she's got this rash. So no gluten for her or me for a while. Let's see. Erica, good morning, Erica. Breakfast ramen. Ooh, what's in breakfast ramen? That sounds like something Harry would make. Harry, we had Soraya's birthday party yesterday. She turned 7 yesterday, which is crazy. For those of you who have known us since she was born, holy cow. Can't believe she turned 7 yesterday. He comes and I have made this cake, and we have having cake and ice cream. We have some friends here. And he disappears. I'm like, where did Harry go? He had come in the house as we were outside and made himself a frozen. We had these frozen organic burritos that we buy at Costco. Frozen burrito with 2 eggs on it. He puts eggs on everything. It's really funny. That's his menu stacking. If it's got eggs. So let's see. Erica says she's glad she actually caught the video. Good morning. Good morning. Don't have a baby today. Erica's about to pop any day, ladies. Everybody say some prayers for her. Gaia says using an app for menus that also make shopping lists. That's a great idea. Can you share the name of the app that you use? Because I think that's a great idea. Then I can send my list directly to the grocery store for them to put it together. That's a great idea. It's a great idea. Thanks for that tip, Gaia. I would love to know what app you're using for sure. We tend to use Google Keep just to make the grocery list, as then it can go between Eric and I, or Evernote. We use Evernote too. We haven't used that for grocery lists in a while. Brianna says, I'm going to post some photos of materials I've made to help me with meals. Sure, we'd love to see that. I don't use it all still, but need to reinstitute it. I made a list of everything I buy at the store in order that I encounter them in the store. That's a great idea. Because every store is a little bit different. I go to some grocery stores, I go, what the heck? How's this laid out this way? Because it's totally not the way we lay things out at the other stores. And so I think that's a great idea. If your list is in the order that you're doing. Rihanna says, I know y'all bake a lot. What flour do you use? When I am baking with wheat, sorry, I got something in my eye, ladies. When I'm baking with wheat, I use organic white flour for breads. I use either organic or the King Arthur flour, one of the two. And now I think they have an organic one too. So it just depends on which one I get at the store. When I'm doing gluten free, then I tend to use the Bob's Red Mill 1-to-1, which is good. It's just pricey, but it's good. That's what we use. That's what I used for this cake I made yesterday. I made a gluten free cake for Soraya's birthday, and I wasn't convinced of the recipe. And this is like me being a recipe snob. Eric was agreeing with me. I was a recipe snob. This is why, because I looked this recipe on Pinterest, and this woman has this whole beautiful cake, and then she iced it with something from a tub, and she didn't make her own frosting. I was like, I don't know. I'm a little suspect of this cake, but it actually turned out good. And I'll post because it was actually pretty good. The kids were like, this tastes like brownies. It was really good. Gaia says it's called eMeals is the app. It wasn't free, but it is a lifesaver. You know, sometimes spending a couple of bucks on an app, I have several apps like that that I love because, you know, even though you have to spend money on them, that they're lifesavers. So Becca wants to know if Brianna shops at Aldi's. What's really funny is Eric remembers Aldi's when he was on his mission in Ohio. They had Aldi's there. Did you say they had an Aldi's here that you saw?
Yeah, there are some here now.
Huh.
Like when there's one in the National City. There's a few. I took the kids.
That's really funny.
A few months ago.
It's a little nostalgia. She says, Becca Joyce says she does the same kind of grocery list and she laminates it and then use a dry erase marker. That's a great idea too. Great ideas, ladies. Let's see. Rachel wants to know, does anyone know of an app that helps with gluten-free, soy-free, nut, cows? Oh, dairy-free. That's a hard one. That's a really hard one. I hate shopping and trying to meal plan with food allergies. You know, we were dairy-free and gluten-free when Harry was little. It was definitely harder. Those were in the Stone Ages when there was not a whole lot that was around. I made a ton of stuff from scratch. My big kids, they sort of like to think that they didn't actually eat like this, but they ate. I did mung bean sprouted patties so I would take mung beans and sprout them, and then I would put them in the Bosch. That was before I had a Vitamix. Put them in the Bosch and make like a paste. And then I would add, we were able to use spelt flour. So we used some spelt flour and then I fried them up, and they like to pretend that they didn't eat those because they're like, I can't believe you made us eat that. But they ate them and they loved them. They were great little patties. So I tried to do things like that, that were quick and easy. And if you can find a good base, honey, of quick and easy, like things that you guys like, it'll make it a lot easier. But when you're trying to go through it the first little time, it's hard. Like poor Soraya, like she's like, does this have gluten? Does this have gluten? Does this have gluten? I'm sorry for her. But you know, Harry's like, I feel your pain. He remembers going through it. Lennon says, I'm a huge einkorn fan. You know what? I forgot about them. They are good too. They're not gluten-free, but I don't have a problem with them. And I haven't tried them since we've been doing the gluten-free thing, but I really like them. I like they have a wide egg noodle that we've used. I really like that. I've used that in my chicken noodle soups. And, you know, of course, when you're making a chicken noodle soup, you have to add the noodles at the end, but definitely really like the einkorn stuff, because I really feel like there's not a reason, and I know people are going to argue with me, but our bodies are made to eat gluten. They're just not made to eat it in the quantities that our culture likes to eat it. And so I really struggle with this idea that we have to be gluten-free forever, although some people for sure have to be gluten-free forever. But I do think that there's this way that we can do it in a better way. And so when I know that our situation was like the tipping point was the candy bread. We were keeping it all under wraps. But I have to tell you something else. I had no joint pain since I got rid of gluten about 2 weeks ago. Yeah. Anyways, going through here. Rhiannon says, I grew up vegan and my dad would send us to school with alfalfa sprout and tofu sandwiches. That's like the old school way. A while back, I was bragging to my friend how she grew up like me, would never trade our food with other people. She said, yeah, because no one would trade with us. That's funny. That's really funny. Great conversation, you guys. Does anybody else have any other thoughts? Do you have any other comments over here?
Not here, no.
All right. I think we're going to wrap it up. Please make sure that you sign up for Straight Talk About Bad Behavior on Wednesday or Saturday. Then let's see, Brianna says, I thought I'd post to Waldorf Essentials, but because it's a file, you can't post it there. You could post it in Thinking, Feeling, Willing, or in Ask Melissa. Ask Melissa has people that are not thinking, feeling, willing, so they might appreciate it if you would post it there. Feel free to post it there, and Kelly will approve it. So yeah, go ahead and do that. Again, join us this week. If rhythm is a struggle for you, please, please, please go check out the Rhythm Reboot. And I'm going to ask that, the best way that we can share our work with other people is when you talk about it. So I would love it if you have worked with programs with us that you have loved, whether it be our Thinking, Feeling, Willing program or some of our other programs, please share. That is the best when you can share word of mouth. And these 2 new programs, I really and truly believe are huge helps for families that maybe aren't homeschooling, or maybe they are and they're just trying to get busy and they're really, really struggling with these concepts that I cover in Thinking, Feeling, Willing, but maybe they're not ready to take that leap yet. So if you would share, I would love it. It would be so awesome and such a warming of my heart if you would just share some of the links that Kelly shared in the beginning of the chat with your friends, with friends that need it, with friends that might be struggling with discipline in their homes or with getting the rhythm together. That's really what this is about. It's like sharing. Then we're working together, and we're really helping the people that really need us. So anyways, I hope you guys have a wonderful week, and we will see you later. I can't remember what we're talking about next week. I think I'm talking about appreciation versus love. I can't remember. It's going to be in the events. So if it's not there already, it'll be there later today. See y'all later. Oh, melissanielsen.com/newsletter. See you guys later.